Atlas Air. When you need to charter a flight to Riyadh for the Royal Rumble, think Atlas Air. Tonight on Ramblers Unleashed. In 2 days, the Baron will be distracted by Liv Morgan in the Royal Rumble. Max Magus has some bad news for you. All this and more next on Ramblers Unleashed.
Warning. This video contains super awesome content not suitable for people who don't enjoy super awesomeness. Viewer discretion advised.
The wrestling podcast that sets all other podcasts apart. Covering news from the world of WWE, AEW, TNA, and more. Your favorite weekly episodic podcast, Ramblers Unleashed, starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Royal Ramble. Tonight with more Royal Rumble content. Your weekly episodic podcast for news from the world of WWE, AEW, TNA, and sometimes more. But this week, we're barely going to have any content that's not Rumble related, just to warn you. That's right, the Royal Rumble is 2 days away, emanating from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and tonight, we are the Royal Ramble, and we are down to the final two. Let's introduce the Ramblers. Up first, the man who is higher than a jet airliner and whose signature catchphrase is and always will be
420.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the Baron.
Thank you. Let's be straightforward with the peoples out there today. We hit that go live button just less than 2 minutes ago. Or let's say I hit the live button. Let's say Bubba hit the live button. We have a tech in the back that's doing all our work for us. He hit the live button. We thought we were live. We were live. I unfortunately muted my mic as well as Max's mic and missed the entire introduction. That's how you start the show on a Thursday, folks. That's how you do
it. Ladies and gentlemen, yes. This is what happens when you get high before the show. Nothing wrong with that. Just saying there are sometimes unfortunate side effects. And you know what? Technical difficulties.
Max, this has gotten out of control. It's down to us. And they got the highest guy in the 314 area code hitting the like button. Not good, folks. Not good.
Well, they left the fat, lazy one to put the stories together. So, I'm surprised we ever have any content. And you know what?
Hell of a job.
Well, and let me be honest with you about that. I got home tonight and I threw in a search of Royal Ramble news, right? Pulled up a bunch of articles on that. I already knew what the AEW story was going to be. I had to find a TNA story after that. And then I realized Royal Rumble news doesn't really take up a whole lot of time, even with picks and everything. So I decided I was going to write this really long thing talking about some of the numbers, some of the history. And that brings me to Baron's Buzzkill. There was an article that talked about the origin of the Royal Rumble and how it was almost a giant failure. And that is going to be Baron's Buzzkill later tonight. And from the desk of Max Magus is some bad news. But you take it for what you will. Up next, I need to introduce the other member of the Ramblers. For without you, we'd be a couple of idiots talking. And it was 4, then it was 3, and then it was 4, and then it was 3, and then it was 2. You never know. And next week, it could just be me up here talking to myself, because who's going to tune in to listen to just me? I mean, every time I tell anybody, unfortunately, the Baron's not going to be with us tonight, you should see the response I get over in Discord. They are so upset when Baron cannot be on the show, but Max can't make it. Oh, no worries. Max is the GOAT, and they get more upset if Baron can't make it than they do for Max. But you know what? Give it up for yourselves over there in the chat, because without you guys, this would not be worth our time.
I agree. And, thanks to all the Ramblers out there. I miss you every time I can't make it. I have a feeling there's no chance that we're ever running this solo, either one of us. So,
Well, listen, right now we have our own set of jobs and they haven't crossed yet. I haven't had to learn the technical side and you haven't had to put the stories together. So I really think that for right now, unless one of those two comes back, we really need each other right now to do a show.
Yeah. That hitting live button's harder than it looks, Max. Let's just put it to you that way.
And that's what is as simple as Restream tries to make it for us.
Yeah, exactly. Oh boy.
Oh, all right, guys. I am your host. I am the GOAT, sometimes referred to as Chicago Max. I'm the guy that wants to make sure that you still have a quality show despite the unfortunate absences that we're going through right now. And Baron is right there with me. He wants you guys to have a quality show. And believe me, we've talked to the boys in the back. They want you to have a good show too. They're just, right now, they're unable to be here. So for now, Baron and I will do our best to keep you entertained. And we are going to, tonight, be very Royal Rumble heavy because, I mean, really, this is one of the greatest nights of the year for me. It's not the greatest, but it's one of the greatest nights of the year. I love the Royal Rumble, and I'm pretty sure Baron does under ordinary circumstances, right?
This is actually my favorite night of wrestling. So Rumble for me is number one, PLE. And then obviously WrestleMania is going to be number two, right? But yeah, no, I think this was the first thing I ever watched wrestling related. And we're going back to like 92 Rumble, right? I couldn't even tell you who was in the 92 Rumble. I don't even remember who won. We could obviously look that up, but that
would be Sid Justice.
92, 91-ish. And you got to remember, I'm like in the five, right? Like 5 or 6 probably at this time. And I remember going to our local cinema store. It wasn't Blockbuster. This was well before Blockbuster ever came around. And I picked that out. And ever since then, I was a wrestling fan. So, yeah, I mean, I love the Rumble. It's the best time. This is where the fans get that cheap pop. Yeah, I was gonna say it might have been Ric Flair. I don't think it's like.
Oh, hold on, I didn't scroll up far enough. You're right. It was Ric Flair, which I will be discussing that further here momentarily.
Okay. Yeah, well, great PLE. That was the first one I watched. I still remember the cover, the VHS of going in and getting that. And as a wrestling fan, this has to be this is the most engagement we get as wrestling fans during the Rumble matches. We don't just get one, we get 2. So yeah, great time.
Well, and the thing is, part of the reason I love Rumble so much is because they don't just tell you, hey, here's the 30 people that are going to be in the Rumble, enjoy. They're like, here's 15 people that are going to be in the Rumble. Your guess is as good as ours, who's left. Obviously, they know who the rest are, but one of my favorite things is playing the who's going to be the surprise. Who are we going to get that we weren't expecting? And I'm going to be honest, I love, whether I'm right or wrong, I love playing that guessing game. Who is going to be a surprise? Although I will say this year I went a safe route. A lot of years I'm like, all right, there is a possibility this person is going to be back. It's a long shot, but I'm going with them. This year I was like, these two are pretty obvious to be making a surprise appearance. You know what I mean? So yeah, the Royal Rumble, 30 participants enter, 1 wins the prize, a main event match at WrestleMania. Now, while the prize can be used for any match with anyone in the main event at WrestleMania, traditionally the winner always seems to pick the top champion to face. Not everyone got the match at WrestleMania. The first 5 years, there was no guaranteed Mania match. The first ever winner was Hacksaw Jim Duggan. The next 4 were Big John Studd, Hogan won back-to-back, and then Ric Flair. Now, before I continue that, the Sid Justice thing was most eliminations that year. That was the list I was on. And
What was that? How many?
that year, the most eliminations were 6 by Sid Justice.
And what's the most of all time? Aren't they pushing like 10 now?
The most in a single match. Kane comes in third with 11. And then there's a tie, although I don't really count one of those. I don't count Braun Strowman. And let me tell you why. He got his 13 eliminations in a single match at the Greatest Rumble, not at a regular Royal Rumble.
Don't count.
Yeah, that one does not count. The one that I do count, though, on that is Brock Lesnar, because they actually are tied at 13. But Brock got his 13 in a regular Royal Rumble, and Roman Reigns is actually second with 12. Okay. The women's record is 9. Would anybody? Oh, and her most collective in a row. So, like, she got in the ring and she said, "You're out, you're out, you're out." Nia Jax holds that record with 5 as of last year.
That's what I was going to guess. Nia.
Yeah. And the women's record is 9, with Nia Jax being the one who've gotten that. Shortest time in the ring, if I remember correctly, before I continue this, because it's actually one of my favorite stats. It used to be, it still is. 2009, Santino Marella set the record, 1.9 seconds. Let me say that again. Santino Marella was only in the Royal Rumble for 1.9 seconds. Now, who set the record for the longest time in the Royal Rumble? Do not listen to whatever this website tells you, because the right answer is Curtis Axel. He never got eliminated. So he is still adding time on that. Shortest women's Rumble time, Chelsea Green and Valhalla are tied for 5 seconds. Chelsea in 2023, Valhalla in 2024. But let's get back to this. Sean wasn't ready. You weren't ready for what? I'm always ready. I'm ready to rumble, baby, which is also a great movie. It's just
great movie. Fantastic movie. Love it. I actually wish I could find out where that's at. What app that's on.
It's the Ready to Rumble's right up there on my top shelf.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got it. I don't have that, but I'm sure it's on an app somewhere. Has to be. I wouldn't mind watching that again. That is a good one.
I mean, you may have to go on Amazon and order a DVD, because I'm having a lot of trouble with some of my favorite older movies not being on any apps. And I haven't looked at that one since I was so disappointed by other stuff not being on an app, but it may or may not be there.
I will tell you.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you remember this movie. I'm just throwing it out there. It's going to get us off page, but what would a show be without us not going?
Tangent.
Yes. Stay tuned with John Ritter.
Oh. That one's not even over on the shelf. That one's literally right here.
Oh, I can't see it because of the background.
Hold on, let me see if I can.
Okay, I see a little bit better now. Yeah, great movie. Loved it. I found that on the app and I was so excited. I was like, okay. That was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. That and obviously Problem Child.
It's just too bad that the bad guy in that movie turned out to be a literal bad guy in real life.
Yes. Yep.
He was such an amazing actor.
Yeah.
I actually asked my family for this for Christmas a couple years ago, and that's how I ended up with Stay Tuned.
Nice. Good movie. Love it.
And listen, if you are from the era I am, that movie is about cable TV and the sheer number of channels it gave us back when we listen, I'm old. So when I first got into all this, there was only a handful of channels, and then cable TV came along and said, hold my beer. And that's how we got all these channels of nothing these days. So the first wrestler to win and get a main event match at WrestleMania was, of course, Yokozuna in 1993. He would then go on to WrestleMania 9 and he would defeat Bret Hart for the then WWF Championship. But moments later, Hogan would come out and defeat him for the title. And here in a couple minutes, we're going to talk about how they reversed the roles the following year, not involving Hogan. Outside of years with both a men's and a women's Rumble, there has only been 1 year where there were two winners. And that was 1994, with Lex Luger and Bret Hart both hitting the floor at the same time. They would go on to WrestleMania 10, both getting a championship match. Lex would fail in his match against Yokozuna, and there was some controversy. And if you've never watched the end of this match, please do yourself a favor. It was very well done. There are those of you that can sit there and watch how that match turned out and go, Mr. Perfect was in the right. And there are those of you that will sit there and watch that match and go, he screwed Lex Luger. I'm in the camp that Luger was in the right. And when I describe to you exactly what happened at the end of that match, hopefully you'll see why I think that. The controversy was because when Lex went for the pin, Cornette and Fuji had been pulled into the ring by Luger and laid out. So when he went for the pin, Perfect, who was the guest ref, was dealing with Cornette and Fuji. And so when he didn't go count the pin, Luger shoved him and Perfect decided to disqualify him. Later in the night, Bret would defeat Yokozuna, which, like I said, was a reversal from the previous year when Yoko beat Bret. Despite having faced his brother Owen at the start of the night. Four superstars have won back-to-back Rumbles. Hogan in 90 and 91, HBK in 95 and 96, Austin in 97 and 98, and the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes in 2023 and 2024. Stone Cold is the only wrestler to have 3 Royal Rumble wins to his name. Unfortunately, the third one was split up, so it did not end up being a 3 in a row for him. And it was kind of an interesting split up on his wins because I was looking this over. So he won his first Rumble in 97. The following year, it was The Rock. But then in 1999, Vince McMahon won the Royal Rumble. And then Test, and then Kane, and then Austin. And this doesn't seem to say what his third one was, which is really weird. But yeah, it was weird to see that Vince McMahon won the Rumble. I mean, and I knew that. I watched it. I know he won a Rumble. But it was weird to see that he was part of the split up on Austin's wins. Batista is the only person to win from the same number twice. He was entrant number 28, both times that he won the Rumble. Entrants numbered 1 through 10 have won 12 times. 11 through 20 have only won 9 times. And entrants 21 through 30 have won 27 times. And the best overall number also happens to be 27, and that has produced 5 winners. So now let's talk about some stories concerning this Rumble, and we will get to our picks later tonight. Up first, I want to talk about Daphne LaShawn. She posted today on social media. She is in Riyadh. She was in her referee gear, so she is apparently doing better, and we are thankful for that quick recovery. Thankful that she's able to return to work this quickly, because from the pictures I saw, it was a pretty bad accident, Barry. What's up, not Vince Russo, bro?
You know, we had a whole show dedicated to not Vince Russo Wait, did we go live last week?
We did. Last week we talked about Vince Russo.
My brain is gone. And yeah, it's been a long week. We wish him snowed in over here, by the way.
We wished him a happy birthday and good luck in his future endeavors last week.
We did.
So, yeah. So Your thoughts on Daphne LaShawne's recovery?
Yeah, I'm glad she's back, right, and better. Even though, did we talk about this last week?
We did.
I'm running this joke here now, and it's going to go throughout the entire week because I thought we were off last week. I'm going to be frank with you guys.
No, last week was our milestone 100th episode.
Number 100.
I sang happy birthday to Sean.
Yes, and Sean, we're so grateful that you're back with us this week. I thought that was for sure going to be the final fucking time we saw Sean. I agree. Still having nightmares myself.
Yeah. All right. So up next, we are gonna read a story from Yahoo Sports. WWE's Triple H teases a lot of surprises for Epic Royal Rumble. As is tradition, fans should expect surprises at the 2026 WWE Royal Rumble, at least according to Chief Content Officer Paul Triple H Levesque. During an appearance at ESPN's Get Up, Triple H assured fans that the 2026 WWE Royal Rumble PLE will have a lot of surprises in store. At the same time, he called it one of the most star-studded Royal Rumbles that I can recall. He promised it was going to be epic, so buckle in. The Royal Rumble is one of those events that's amazing to see because every couple of minutes there's a new entrant that enters into the fray, he explained. So as this match goes on over the course of the hour that it takes or so, you're getting constantly surprised by who's next. He remained tight-lipped about what the surprises may be, but expect returns and debuts during the annual men's and women's battle royals. The upcoming Royal Rumble is sure to feature some surprises. Nikki Bella appears to bound to return at the event after being seen in the background of a social media post by Jackie Redmond. There may also be some NXT call-ups. Obafemi, this article says, seems bound for the main roster, but we know that he is. He's already been announced to be in the Rumble. We'll get to that here in a little bit. He could jump from NXT. He is going to jump from NXT to the main roster by making a splash on the Battle Royal. Of course, the surprises Triple H mentioned could have to do with the winner. In 2025, many expected John Cena to win the annual Battle Royal to kickstart his farewell tour. However, he was the runner-up, Jey Uso, who had never won World Championship gold before, ended up winning the Royal Rumble. He'd go on to face Gunther and beat him for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 41. Names like Roman Reigns and Liv Morgan appear to be the favorites for their Royal Rumbles. Fans will only have to wait 2 more days to see what Triple H has in store. And we talk about the surprises all the time. We brought it up tonight. You and I and the boys talk about it in the back all the time. That's, for me, that's the best part. Like I said, I mean, we're always talking about who will make their return. What you got, Baron?
No, returns are always going to be everybody's favorite fucking thing with this, right? I mean, I think this is why it's so popular. I pointed out, I guess last week, Max said we were live, that this could be one of the most let down Rumbles we've seen just because where they're at, right? There's a lot of people that may not be traveling, can't travel, like that's a lot of money for traveling out there, right? So I know we have this expectation of Rumble being, let's get all these returns, but I have a feeling we might just get one. I don't know. I'm hope I'm wrong, but I just have this feeling that we're gonna get one mediocre return, and that's that. I like I said, we'll see. Triple H has said every single week it's going to be the biggest night in history. Everything, I'm starting to not believe anything he fucking says anymore. Just like that WWE 2K fucking poster that he has, just whatever, dude. So yeah, like I said, man, I absolutely love Rumble. I just have a feeling we might be let down this go around, but fingers crossed we're not. Plus, it's a day Rumble. Feels weird.
I'm going to send you a picture. Let me know what you think of it. and you're right. It could let us down. We every year we're promised big things, but honestly, I don't know how to respond to that. I want to see Matt.
And this is what Max is talking about here for the folks at home. I like it. I like it a lot. I would maybe buy that edition.
Yeah, I mean, I will probably would too.
Oh, geez.
They wouldn't be surprises if he just flat out told us, and that's part of the anticipation. And this is the reason that this is a big part of the reason why I stopped reading dirt sheets years ago. It's not just, like I read articles still, but I try to avoid reading these dirt sheets that speculate, oh, this person's coming back or this. When Goldberg made his return here in Denver a couple years ago, I wasn't surprised. I knew he was coming. The dirt sheets had already leaked it. And while I like to speculate on who's going to be in the Rumble, and I do need to cover the news around here, I don't want all the answers. I want to see them come out. I want to see the surprises. I want to be surprised. Unfortunately, there's a lot of times where WWE's been like, oh, we got a huge surprise, and then we got the gobbledygooker, or we got Kane choke slamming Pete Rose, and Chainsaw Charlie. I love Chainsaw Charlie. Don't get me wrong, but when he's the big surprise that you've promised us for weeks, it's just not the same. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree. We are, as fans, we're pretty greedy, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. I just, like I said, I really hope we're not let down. It's just going to be weird vibe this go around. Starts at like 10 a.m., 12 p.m. What time does it start?
It starts at noon my time, so 1 your time.
Yeah, way too early for my liking on a Saturday, but nonetheless, be interesting to see how this happens. Oh, look who's in the chat over here.
It wasn't me. It was the one-armed man, deactivated Styles.
Agreed. Styles, we miss you. We love you.
Or Hornswoggle being Vince's. Yeah. But I will say this, Sean. I did like the way they did that night, because you already had the Triple H Stephanie story going on for their relationship. And they were reading the results, and they're like, Vince McMahon's son likes to play games. And so you're thinking, oh my God, is it Triple H? So that was, funny little side story. There's, you can find it out there if you Google it, that apparently Vince used to pitch a incest story to Stephanie all the time, trying to get her to be
she did the interview. She said it herself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can find the story out there. It's online. This is not something we're making up. But he used to always pitch this incest story. And I think, this is just my opinion, that having the speculation be that Triple H was his illegitimate son, while Triple H was dating Stephanie, was the closest anybody would let him come to the incest storyline that he wanted to do. That's my opinion.
I got this fucking mess.
Yeah. All right. Baron, if I tell you that an injured talent is set to return at Rumble, who do you think I'm talking about?
Male or female, which
I haven't specified.
You haven't specified.
Just
okay.
Who's the first wrestler to come to mind?
I mean, Seth Rollins.
Okay. We'll get to him here in a little bit. The one that we've been talking about lately is that Chad Gable is expected to return any day, right? This story is not about Chad Gable. From Fightful, injured talent is scheduled to return at the WWE Royal Rumble. news on a talent returning to the ring. On the newest episode of Wrestle Votes on Fightful Select, it was reported that an injured talent is scheduled to return at the 2026 Royal Rumble Premium Live event in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The talent is former WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton. She last wrestled at Saturday night's main event in November when she lost the WWE Women's Championship to Jade Cargill. And so, yeah, she's expected. It's not been made official. It's not posted on the list, but she is expected to make her return at the Rumble. And I got to be honest, I've missed seeing her in action. I don't get to watch SmackDown as much as I'd like anyway, but she hasn't even been there. So it'll be good to get to see her this Saturday, Baron.
We're talking Cargill?
Tiffany Stratton.
Tiffany Stratton. Yeah, I guess so. I've never been super over with her, but it's always good. I mean, she is great in the ring, don't get me wrong, but I felt like her title run just kind of ran dry for me for a little bit, right? So a return would be great. I'm just trying to think. There's somebody else that's injured on the women's side that could possibly make a return very soon. And I'm just drawing a blank. But nonetheless, I think it would be great. And Chad Gable, obviously, we all know he's returning. They're doing promos, videos, and packages and shit for him.
Right.
So
there's Zoe Stark, Piper Niven, Meechin, and yeah, we're gonna go with those three that are currently out.
Okay.
Because Stephanie Vaquera made her return on Raw. She doesn't count.
I guess Bianca doesn't count because that's who I was thinking of, but she's pregnant, right?
As far as I know, it's Naomi that's pregnant. I haven't heard anything about Bianca being pregnant, but I'm glad you mentioned that. I don't have an article for that, but that's also been in the rumors that Bianca may return, and there is talk she may not only return at the Royal Rumble, but she might actually win the Women's Rumble.
Hey, she would have a very good chance of winning, right? Anytime she's ever in any type of match, and I think I'm cool with that. Yeah, it's Naomi, 100% pregnant. Don't mind me, guys.
8 letters, 1 word, pregnant.
So yeah, that she would definitely be in the forefront to win that if she's in.
Yeah. And by the way, Styles, that's great news to hear, but really right now, while we're talking about injured women wrestlers, is this the right time? I mean, I believe I told you to suck it earlier today. No, Styles, that's great news. I'm happy to hear it. 32% is great. Keep improving. We miss you. If I tell the minions in the chat that they miss you, they will tell you they miss you. Hey, minions in the chat, tell Styles you miss him. And surprises have been the theme. I mean, how many times have we discussed surprises tonight alone?
Who, real quick, because it wouldn't be a show, 2 questions.
1 answer. Yeet.
No. Okay, no. What was your favorite pay-per-view or favorite Royal Rumble of all time?
Well, we talked about this a little bit. I think Styles was still with us when we talked about it. Maybe it was last week. For me, because it's about the fan reaction and the surprises, to me, the best Rumble was 2008 when John Cena returned at number 30. My favorite, though, that's an interesting question because I've never really thought about looking at it from the perspective of what was my favorite WrestleMania. Sean brought up Edge the last time we talked about it.
Well, I think we talked about returns. Who's your favorite returns? We never talked about what was your favorite Royal Rumble. Not let's say Royal Rumble winner. Let's put it that way. let's rephrase that question. Who was your favorite Royal Rumble winner, and maybe favorite Royal Rumble of all time, if you can think of? Because we did talk about returns. We did. Who was your favorite return or whatever? But I would love to know which one was yours.
Let's start with my favorite Royal Rumble winner because this is the one that will probably get us canceled, or at least me. My favorite Royal Rumble winner was the 2004 winner. And part of that is because of when he entered the Royal Rumble. He was not the first man to do it, but he was one of those that nobody thought he was going to win the Royal Rumble. He was one of the best damn wrestlers in the ring. It's just unfortunate that his situation outside the ring turned out the way that it did. And I can understand why people want to erase him from wrestling, but damn it, how do you erase a man that was that damn good in the ring? So for my favorite Royal Rumble winner, I have to say Chris Benoit. Nobody thought he was going to win that Rumble. Nobody thought he stood a chance. Nobody thought he was going to go on and win the title at WrestleMania, and he did. So I got to give favorite winner to Chris Benoit, no matter how much flack I get from people after this, because I openly admit that what happened was really, really bad. I'm not trying to diminish that in any way. I am separating the art from the artist in this case and saying that his win was just mind-blowing and amazing.
Okay, great. Thanks, Max. Love that. No. Hey, here's your opinion. That's what we do here. But, question of the day in the chat. Just let us know what your favorite Royal Rumble was. I have to say 1995. That's when my boy Sean won. And that's kind of where the Heartbreak Kid, thing started for me. And that's where I really got into him. And the rest is history, really. His career just fucking skyrocketed after that and became one of the best. So I got to give it to 1995.
You know what's really great about that pick is your favorite winner? Do you know what position Shawn Michaels entered the 1995 Royal Rumble at?
Wasn't he number 1 or 2?
Number 1.
Yeah. I don't remember. Who was number 2? Was it Bret Hart? Or no, it wasn't Bret.
This website isn't telling me that. But the men's Royal Rumble has only produced 3 winners from the number 1 position. Shawn Michaels in 1995, Chris Benoit in 2004, and Sean, do you know who the third one is? Because you seem to always know this answer. I will give you a hint. It was very recent. It was not Bulldog.
Yeah, no, he's answering because it was Bulldog who entered at number 2, and they were the final 2 in the ring.
Right. Yeah. Sean, who was the only other person to enter at number 1 and win a Royal Rumble? I will give you this hint. He went on to lose his match at WrestleMania. No Googling, Baron. You wait for me to tell you.
I want to know.
I'll tell you. It'll be in just a second. I'll tell you.
Because I really can't think.
All right. I don't think I'm pretty sure Sean knows the answer. Yes, as a matter of fact, you think me, you know me. Edge in 2021, Edge was the number 1 entrant into the ring, and he went on to win the match.
Okay.
So, that's right, folks. Tonight, we're going to talk a lot of Royal Rumble history while we talk about this weekend's Royal Rumble. Don't you worry. So this next story is about surprises, and again, and because we talk about that a lot, because again, I love to speculate on who it's going to be, and I know Baron does, because otherwise he would have moved me along a long time ago instead of letting me speculate so much. But this story comes from Fightful. No, it doesn't. This story comes from Yahoo. Backstage news on WWE NXT star potentially entering women's Royal Rumble match. Oh, I threw you a curveball. It's about a woman again. Royal Rumble week is in full swing, and so is the speculation and rumors regarding which men and women will be heading to Saudi Arabia to compete in the Royal Rumble matches. On Monday, word emerged that Brock Lesnar and Tiffany Stratton were likely to appear. On Tuesday, it was made clear that the Street Profits and Grayson Waller wouldn't be at the Rumble, with the three instead booked to compete on NXT live events this weekend. However, there's an update on that. It appears that Grayson Waller's schedule has opened up, so there is a chance we will see him on Saturday. That's not in this article. It was a different story that I read, but I didn't want to do the whole story. I figured I'd just mention it with this. In an ironic twist, one of the top stars of NXT may not be joining them on that brief tour and may instead be traveling to Saudi Arabia. PW Insider Elite reports that there was talk backstage at last night's NXT tapings that Sol Ruca could be a participant in the Women's Royal Rumble match. Ruca was notably absent from last night's Tuesday night's NXT, while her partner Zariah lost a singles match to Thea Hale. Ruca was one of three notable women missing from NXT, alongside Blake Monroe and women's champion JC Jane, though there's no word regarding their Rumble participation at this time. Ruca entering the Women's Rumble would not be a shock, as the former NXT Women's North American Champion has turned heads with WWE ever since her performance against Bayley at Saturday night's main event in December. Soon after, it was reported that Ruca was on a list of names expected to be called up to the WWE main roster, along with Joe Hendry. Ruca would be the fifth notable NXT talent to move up in the last month, following Trick Williams, Javon Evans, Obafemi, and Jordan Grace. So, I would like to make a quick point about this. Sol Ruca has a move that I love. I love it when she does the Soul Snatcher. It's one of the highlights of watching wrestling for me. For Booker, it's watching the Devil's Kiss. For me, it's the Soul Snatcher. There's just something about the Soul Snatcher that I just find amazing. So if she is on the Royal Rumble Saturday in the Royal Rumble, that will just blow my mind. And she is phenomenally talented, Baron.
Oh yeah, she's fucking great. I think there's a good chance. She is great in the ring. I am just not sure promo wise where she stands, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Listen,
that's what NXT is supposed to be developing and doing, and I feel like sometimes they don't do that. They put on phenomenal matches. She's great in the ring. She's had matches on the main roster before, right? So we know she can do it, and the crowd is really, behind her in her matches, but I just don't know where she would shake out to be in the long run on the main roster.
You don't really have to be good on the mic to make a major impact on the main roster. Notably, I'd like to point out Andre the Giant. You notice that they very, very rarely gave that man a microphone, and it's not like they were worried about what he was going to say like with Brock Lesnar. It was because his English skills were not nearly what they needed to be, so he wasn't great on the microphone. So they gave him a mouthpiece. And in his case, they gave him literally one of the best mouthpieces in the industry. They gave him Bobby the Brain Heenan. I mean, the Weasel could talk. One of my favorite Heenan moments. It was something WCW. I can never find this video, but he and Shivani are sitting up on a table, almost like an announce table, but it's not. It's maybe like a news desk, and they have a live audience, and they get this guy up there from the audience, and he sits down, and they're asking him questions, and Heenan's like, "You said that tonight's your 20th wedding anniversary, and you and your wife are here watching us?" The guy says, "Yes, sir." And Heenan looks at this guy straight-faced and said, "Did you know that if you had killed your wife on your wedding night, you'd be getting out of jail today?" This was Bobby Heenan. I'm sorry, but Bobby Heenan is literally one of the best on the mic. And that's why you gave him to someone like Andre the Giant, because Andre wasn't great on the mic. You don't have to be good on the mic to be good on in wrestling. Obafemi, he's not what I would call the best person to give a mic to. I mean, he talks fine, and he makes his point, but he doesn't need to talk. He doesn't need a mouthpiece. He doesn't need to talk. When you're as big as Obafemi and you're as big as Omos, you don't really need to use your words because you're going to use your strength. Now, this is a long-winded way of saying that Sol Ruca doesn't need to be good on a mic. She needs a mouthpiece that can speak for her. And who is the best mouthpiece in the WWE right now?
I mean, Paul Heyman.
And what is the vision lacking that they lost when they turned on Seth?
I like what you're throwing down.
I think Sol Ruca needs to make a heel turn when she comes in the main roster and join the Vision, because that'll help her build herself up without needing to be able to use the microphone. And it fills a void.
Yeah, see, now that's smart booking. That's that's something that should happen. But we know that's not what's going to ever happen. And that's where I just get a little bit like, especially in the women's division, like I feel there's not much emphasis on the women's division, right? Mm-hmm. So like that's what I worry about, and I think you're right though. I think she can go anywhere and it'll be fine. She'll have great matches, but like, where's that stand out? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've watched so many great people in the ring really stand out, like, and not get anything. Like Penta, like, what? Great in the ring, got the aura, and like, still nothing's going on there, right? And I get that with Soul a little bit here too. But nonetheless, I think she will have a decent run on the main roster for sure. And they do have a lot more titles for the women's division. I will give them that, to give them more time on the screen.
Right. Well, and I would like to take this opportunity to once again say, Tony Khan, I think I could do a better job booking. Let me bring my team in. We will fix you. We will make you better.
Well, you better be bringing me in. I need that money.
I said my team. You, Dizzy, Styles, Sean.
We didn't need to bring the other two in. Just us two.
And Sean.
And Sean, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
We got to continue to pay. We got to continue to pay Sean off to keep calling you the GOAT.
That's why I'm bringing him in. That's not why I'm bringing him in. I think Sean will be great at this.
Okay. That was a quick move there.
I was looking for a great picture I saw earlier today. Oh, there it is. So apparently, there was a picture earlier today. It was from the flight over, and it was Ray, Dragon Lee, and Penta. And they didn't have their masks on the flight, so they were all sitting there doing the lucha pose, the one where you don't have your mask, so you're covering your face. This is not that. They all have their masks on. But when you see it, you'll understand.
Trying to get that to blow up a little bit more.
Do I need to get a better version of it?
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not a good one. I don't know if we can really. I see what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so maybe we can here. Let's see if I can blow this up. This is probably as good as we'll get here, folks. So you can see what we're looking at here. All
right. So a little explanation about what's here in this picture. You've got Ray, Dragon Lee, Penta. I mean, it's small enough I can't tell for sure. But the other one might be Ray Phoenix. I'm not positive.
I think that's Ray Phoenix. Yeah, that's Ray Phoenix.
So, but
sure.
What else is going on in the picture? They all have their masks on. But R-Truth decided to pose with them. And so R-Truth decided, I'm not wearing a mask. You guys are. And so he's doing the lucha mask pose. I thought it was hilarious when I saw that. This is why we love truth,
We love truth.
stuff
Absolutely
like
love it.
this. I mean, the balls thing that throughout the last time is now tournament, talking about Aldis's balls or his balls, that was hilarious. And I absolutely loved it when he came out and confronted Miz and say, I know what you did. I have the ball that you took and didn't and ended up putting yourself in the tournament. And Miz opened it up and goes, Joe Hendry, who's that? And Joe Hendry's music hit. And that's a good life, isn't it, Sean? I mean, being Ted DiBiase has its perks.
Yeah, love R-Truth. I did get to watch some of that WWE Unreal about that bit. If you guys haven't checked it out, check it out because it is pretty good. I do enjoy it. Yeah.
I'm with Paul Heyman. Despite what you may have heard, I am not a fan of that show. I come from an era when you keep your secrets. I'm with Paul Heyman on that.
Yeah, I would love that, but unfortunately, we're in the factor where you can't. Social media has ruined that aspect of it, and what feeds social media the most is feeding things like that. So, like, I get it. I'm totally with you on that, and Paul, but
this actually all started with Beyond the Mat.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Years and years ago. My God, years ago, right? But I there's just that need to know more type of situation, right? Sometimes, people will say you don't need to know everything, but like we're in that, and social media has changed that, right? Because you get everything from people's opinions on wrestling and everything else in the world. And that's how people are programmed anymore. And that's why a show like this is kind of interesting to me. I agree. I wish we never got down to that path. But you know what? Shawn Michaels and them, they all ruined that years ago when they broke the kayfabe, right? Like, we know. So, yeah.
Are you referring to the infamous curtain call?
Oh, yeah. And that was like damn near 20 plus years ago, 25 years ago, right?
Yeah. And for the record, I honestly don't think that's a real test. I would make them go like 50 and then kick it at 49. Make them really think they almost accomplished something, because anybody can dribble a ball 10 times. Even Styles with his bum hand can dribble a ball 10 times. All right. This next story is about one person that has for sure confirmed that he will not return for the Rumble. This comes to us from the takedown on Sports Illustrated. Seth Rollins appeared on ESPN's Get Up to discuss whether or not he'll be available for the Royal Rumble January 31st. Now, let me start this with a little caveat. I'm not saying he is not going to be there. I'm saying that he has confirmed that he won't be there, which is a very good possibility because it was a torn rotator cuff, but we have been played before. And Seth Rollins is the one that played us when it came to an injury. I'm not saying the rotator cuff's not legit. I'm just saying maybe it is healed. Seth Rollins is, huh?
I was going to say, he's like the fastest person to heal from an injury ever, like at all times, anytime he is. He's just getting towards the end of that career that, you know what I'm saying? Like, he almost has to kind of come back fast, right?
Right. Well, he almost has to, but not according to what he said. Seth Rollins has been out of action with a torn rotator cuff since being booted out of the Vision by Braun Breaker on October 13th, which is not what tore the rotator cuff. It happened before that, and that's the reason that they kicked him out of the Vision. The World Heavyweight Championship was vacated by Rollins after the injury, and CM Punk became World Heavyweight Championship after pinning Jey Uso in a tournament final. WWE TV has missed Rollins, but he won't rush to return from injury. Rollins is a superstar with a longer injury history than most WWE veterans. He tore multiple major ligaments in his right hand in 2015, re-aggravated an injury in his right knee in 2017, and re-injured the opposite knee in 2024. Rollins also recently spoke about the kind of back pain he was dealing with in late 2023 while he was World Heavyweight Champion for the first time. He was able to work through the pain without missing much time, but the shoulder injury he's currently dealing with is something he can't work through. Seth Rollins could return sooner than expected, but not for the Royal Rumble. While speaking with ESPN's Mike Greenberg on Monday morning on the Get Up Morning show, Seth Rollins confirmed whether or not he can make a surprise return at the Royal Rumble match. Shoulder's doing good, man. It's doing good. I don't know if it's good enough to get me back in the ring this Saturday in Riyadh for the Rumble, but we're on track for a return sometime sooner rather than later. Rollins previously stated that his injury usually takes 4 to 6 months to heal. January would be 3 months, and he has expressed this injury and has expressed a desire to return before WrestleMania 42. His latest interview on ESPN gives fans a lot of optimism that Rollins can fulfill his desire. In the same segment on Get Up with Greenberg, Rollins gave men's and women's dark horse for the Royal Rumble this Saturday. It's no surprise that he chose WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion and wife, Becky Lynch, for the Women's Royal Rumble. For me, on the men's side, Ray's a legend. He's won a Royal Rumble before, shockingly enough, as a guy as small as he is. On the women's side, there's somebody I feel like everybody's overlooking, and that is my wife, the one and only, the man, big-time Becky Lynch. I guess he just confirmed who wears the pants in their relationship. Rollins has never been shy about giving his wife props in the media when given the chance. The Royal Rumble is this Saturday, January 31st. Now, first things first, before we talk about this, do you remember what he was wearing the night Division kicked him out?
I don't.
It was like this yellowish black, like plaid type outfit. And I got a question. Did he raid Sherlock Holmes' closet to put that outfit together? I mean, this man wears a lot of weird stuff down to the ring, but really? The Sherlock Holmes look for the night he gets kicked out of the Division? While he did make it sound like, sure, maybe there's a possibility that I'll be cleared in time, he did also state that he's not expecting to be cleared. So I wouldn't get your hopes up too much. I do think Seth's going to miss this Royal Rumble. And that's based on what he's saying. That's not based on my opinions or anything like that. It's just from the way he's talking, I'm pretty sure he's certain that he's not going to be at the Rumble, Baron.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine they would be either, and he doesn't really need to, but I would like to see him come back. It's always good to have Seth Rollins around.
Yeah. In separate news, but about Seth Rollins, I saw a couple of things the last 2 days that were kind of intriguing. I didn't want to bring up and read the whole article or social media post that Becky posted or that I saw posted about Becky saying this, but both of them have commented on their names like very recently. She likes her name, Rebecca Quinn. She feels like it rolls off the tongue. And she didn't think Becky Lynch rolled off the tongue nearly as well. She wanted to be Rebecca Quinn, but WWE said no. And they sent her out with this. Seth said basically the same thing. He pitched to let them bring in Tyler Black as his character. And the WWE ultimately decided they'd rather he be Seth Rollins. And it was weird to see both of them on that subject within days of each other, talking about what name they would rather be working under in the WWE. So, all right. Let's go from the desk of Max Magus. I'm afraid I've got some bad news. Look, I know a lot of you have been speculating on a Jericho return. First, it was during the Last Time Is Now tournament. Then it was on a Raw. Then it was Saturday night's main event. Now people are talking. They think he's going to show up Saturday in Riyadh as one of the surprise entrants in the Royal Rumble. Look, I would love to hear the countdown clock start up, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I think you're all setting yourselves up to be disappointed. I don't think he's coming back just yet. Now, I know we have no idea what his plans are, and yes, I know I just made all your lists for bursting your bubbles, but look, go to the AEW roster page. He is still on there. I just don't think that's going to change by this weekend. And then there's his European Fozzy tour to think about. While a stop in Riyadh is not impossible, I just don't think it's likely with everything else he has going on for the tour. So be mad at me all you want, but as of now, I am telling you, all signs say there will be no Jericho this Saturday or anytime soon in the WWE.
Boo! Boo this man! I mean, is he actually still on the AEW roster?
Yes, he is.
Well, then, yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to think. I'm looking at the roster now and who's still on it. That, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you pull up the AEW roster page, go to the men's roster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He is row 6, all the way over to the right next to Cash Wheeler. He is still on the AEW roster as we speak. I don't see him coming off that roster in time for the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And look, it doesn't bring me any joy to tell you guys that. I don't want to bring you down on this. I don't. I want Jericho to return as well, but unfortunately, I'm looking at the available information and I'm going, it's not adding up to equal Jericho in the Rumble.
Well, waiter just... Was that the buzzkill moment there, Max?
No, that was from the Desk of Max Mages. We're going to the buzzkill next.
I think, that plays a large part if he's not... If he's still on the active roster and on the roster on the website, right? So, to me, we do this every year as wrestling fans. We throw out a name and people start sticking it everywhere, and Jericho's been one of those that has been sticking out there in the news for the last, 2 months now? We've been kind of talking about it. I would love to see him. I think it's definitely going to happen. Maybe it's not at Rumble. He's going to be on his last tour, and for retirement and whatnot, I think. That really kind of solidifies that, right? They would remove him immediately if he went over to another promotion.
Yeah.
Out of spite, because that's what they do. They don't waste time removing you from the active roster on the websites.
No, especially not in AEW. The last month and a half, everybody that they have announced is no longer with the company went down right after they announced, hey, we ended the contract today. We ended the contract yesterday. I mean, they were down that quickly. For Jericho to still be up on the website and no announcement having been made that they have separated from their agreement tells me there is no way Jericho is no longer under contract. He is clearly still under contract at this time. And his UK tour dates for Fozzy, he is February 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 11th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, and the 21st. So at least throughout the month of February, I'm not expecting to see any kind of Jericho appearance in the WWE, unfortunately. They might keep teasing him. Pierce made that comment on that Raw that got everybody speculating about, will somebody break the walls down? And it's good for business to mention Jericho because ratings go up every time you mention Jericho. So all right, let's go ahead and move on. The Rumble hasn't always had the prestige that it currently maintains. Our next story comes to us from Vice.com, the people that bring you all the dark wrestling history on Dark Side of the Ring. And this story is tonight's Baron's Buzzkill. This article is called The Origins of WWE's Royal Rumble, How It Was Almost a Giant Failure. The Royal Rumble is one of WWE's most anticipated premium live events of the year. It's the first stop on the road to WrestleMania, and it's evolved quite a lot from its humble beginnings. Now, both the men and women fight for a title match at WrestleMania. When the Royal Rumble was created, it was just a 20-man battle royal. Pat Patterson pitched the idea to Vince McMahon, who hated the idea, believing it would take too long. In October of 1988, they tested the match type in front of a crowd of under 2,000 fans. Patterson was not there to help direct WWE officials and personnel, so the event was basically a failure. It was 12 men instead of 20. There weren't any entrances, which is part of the fun of the Rumble, and the ending was spoiled by the ring announcer. It didn't work because I wasn't there, Patterson told CBS Sports in 2017. The producer was all mixed up and the talent was all mixed up, and they didn't know how it was going to work. When they failed to come up with something to counteract Jim Crockett Promotions' Bunkhouse Stampede, Patterson again pitched the idea. This time to McMahon's friend, NBC executive, because Vince McMahon loves the Dick. Executive Dick Ebersol. According to Patterson, he loved the idea, so McMahon made him produce the match himself. A year later, in 1989, it expanded into a 30-man match and officially became the pay-per-view we know and love. I was working in the office and my job was to be creative, and I always wanted to do something that's never been done, Patterson told WWE.com in 2014. It's like, for example, a simple steel cage match. Somebody somehow decided to have a cage match. Where that started, I have no idea, but somebody came up with the idea. I started thinking about the Battle Royal, but I had it in mind simply to start with 2 guys, and then every 2 minutes a new guy comes out. When one guy is eliminated, he's out, and so on and so forth. And I knew it was going to work. I could visualize it. I could see it. There was no question. The 20-man Rumble included stars like Bret the Hitman Hart, Jake the Snake Roberts, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Harley Race, Tito Santana, Hillbilly Jim, The Ultimate Warrior, Junkyard Dog, and Jim Neidhart, among others. Before I turn this over to you for your buzzkill moment, Baron, I do have one question. Do you think that if Pat Patterson had not gone to Dick Ebersol, do you think that at some point we would have still gotten the Royal Rumble? Or do you think it would have been one of those things that just fell to the wayside?
It's weird to think about, but I mean, like, no, if he didn't go to him, we would have probably never had it. Do you think that's something Vince could have came up with that, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, Vince's idea was to have Canyon come out of a closet in the middle of the ring. So no, I don't think Vince would have come up with this.
Exactly. And thank God he did, because it developed one of the greatest wrestling PLEs things that ever happened, right? So no, good thing he went and got Dick, or wait, he you know, no, that's positive, right?
Yeah,
I don't really think we would have. It's really weird to think about those. Like, oh God, what if we never had Royal Rumble? Would wrestling been as popular? Because I think Rumble really kind of solidified wrestling in my book.
I think it was partially the Royal Rumble, partially adding the main event at WrestleMania as the prize for winning Royal Rumble. And as much as I hate to admit this, I think it was partly Hulk Hogan. Because back then, Hogan was everywhere. And he was always talking about wrestling everywhere he went. And people would tune in to see this guy that came and talked to them about pro wrestling. They would get hooked on not just seeing him, but they would see everybody else. But I don't think we would have reached that point where Hogan would have been that big of a deal if we didn't have the Royal Rumble to give us a reason to make Hogan that big of a deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's really made the landscape of wrestling. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
And I mean, there's nobody else that does a Royal Rumble, right?
Everybody else
they never did a Royal Rumble, right?
As far as I know, they've done battle royals, but typically with the battle royals, you've got all your people in the ring.
Yeah, that's totally different. So I think WWE is the only one that's ever done it. Nobody's ever mimicked it, and that's why it's been popular throughout the years. It's definitely Good looks from Pat. I did not know he created a Rumble. I should probably have known that.
Do you know what other prestigious, notable thing Pat Patterson holds the claim to?
Intercontinental title, I'm sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just for the record, when you said that if Pat Patterson hadn't gone after the dick, I mean, I'm pretty sure he was doing that quite regularly.
True. Good point. Yeah, good point. Forgot about that.
And that's not a judgment. That's not us.
No, nothing's wrong with that.
It's just us making a statement of fact. He was very openly gay. And for the record, it wasn't just it's not that he came up with the Intercontinental Championship. He was the inaugural WWF Intercontinental Champion, gaining the title on September 1st, 1979. Now, the funny thing about this is how the wording is next. That says, by allegedly winning a tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, unifying the North American and South American titles. In reality, the tournament was a storyline creation to add prestige to the new title. No such event occurred. And I got to be honest with you, I have been involved in events that never occurred. In 1998, Rowdy Knight and I moved to Ohio to pursue wrestling out there. We were going to do some work with ODW and a couple of other smaller feds out there. And at some point while we were there, we did a show out of state. Air quotes. And the deal was that if Rowdy lost that match, he had to lose his hair. But that wasn't the only stipulation. That was not the only thing that was made into the contract. If Rowdy lost the match and lost his hair, and at the time, I actually wanted to grow my hair out. I actually was going to a shop right there by where we were living, and the people there were trying to help me with what I wanted. I wanted long, flowing rocker hair at the time. Now, remember, I turned 21 while I was in Ohio, so this was a million years ago. So my desire for that is no longer there, but that's what I wanted. The stipulation, in addition to Rowdy Knight losing his hair if he lost the match, was that his manager, Max Magus, also had to lose his hair. That event never actually took place. They wrote it up as a story, put it on the hotline so people would know the results of a show that took place out of area. And then they showed up at my house with an electric razor and said, it's time to shave your head. And that was when I found out that we had a match that stipulated I had to lose my hair if Rowdy Knight lost, was when they showed up with the electric razor. Nobody thought to tell Jerry, or nobody thought to tell Max ahead of time. Everybody else was in on it but Max. And that was when I started shaving my head regularly, because after that, it just became a thing. And I started doing it after that. So
that's a great story. That's hilarious.
Our first.
Now, should we run another thing where we get to shave your head again?
Oh, it's coming soon. Don't worry.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with work, especially with the overnights that are coming up starting this weekend. I've just been overwhelmed. I haven't had time. I'm thinking about trying to do it this weekend before the overnights, though. So, but it's coming. I promise. This needs to go away. Here's another story for you of things that Max wasn't informed about ahead of time. We came back from Ohio and we helped start a new wrestling fed. We were there for their debut show. They reached out and asked Rowdy if he wanted to do it. He said yes. They said, do you think Max would want to do it? He said, I'll talk to him. So I get the call. I'm asked to do the show. They want me to be in a battle royal because I've already been in a battle royal. I did it in Ohio. And that battle royal was done more like a Royal Rumble where we each came out separately and, every so many minutes. So since I'd already been in one battle royal, they decided that that's what they wanted me to do, is they wanted me a part of this battle royal. So I asked, do I need to bring music? And I was told, no, don't worry about it. We've got your music covered. They decided that the order of entry would be Rowdy Knight, and then his manager, Max Magis, would be the second. The third guy in there was a guy that got a cease and desist from the WWE for his gimmick, and he has the letter. He has it framed, and he carries it around with him all the time. But he was going under the gimmick of Big Boss Man Jr., and the WWE didn't like that. He was the third one to come in. So Rowdy goes out because he's the first one out. So I turned around and said, does anybody know what music he put me in for? And they're like, nope, we know nothing. So my music hits, and clearly it's my music. It's not one of those where I'm like, is this what he picked for me? No. As soon as I heard it, I knew that this is what Rowdy Knight had picked for me to come out to at our first show here in Denver for RMCW. And I turn around and I look at the guys that are all standing behind me by the entrance, and all of them are like innocent. Like they had no idea. That song, The Offspring, Pretty Fly for a White Guy.
That's a good one. And what would even been better if you had the long rocker hair at that time too,
right?
That would have fit really good.
Yeah, but the hair is a thing that never did happen, and it's not going to happen anymore because even like I said, even this is too much. I want this gone. All right, let's talk about another wrestler who is confirmed to not be in Riyadh for the Royal Rumble. This story comes to us from Cage Side Seats. Ethan Page has confirmed for the NXT Live Tour and won't appear at the Royal Rumble. This year's Royal Rumble is expected to deliver plenty of surprises, according to WWE Chief Content Officer Paul Levesque. But one top star has already been ruled out as a surprise entrant. Ethan Page will not be in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for Friday's SmackDown or Saturday's Royal Rumble. Instead, the NXT North American and AAA Mixed Tag Team Champion will remain with NXT as it hosts a trio of live events through Saturday. Knoxville, Nashville, and Birmingham, I have very good news for your second-rate cities. All ego Ethan Page is coming to your town, Page revealed on X. He added that the bad news is he'll be traveling with a bus full of NXT superstars, though he didn't name names. WWE's website features Ricky Saints, NXT Women's Champion JC Jane, Sol Ruka, Jada Parker, and Trick Williams in the promotional graphics for all three shows. Former NXT champion Obafemi is also shown still holding the title. Now, before I move on this, I would like to point out that we already know that Trick Williams is not. Well, is that true? Let me look. And okay. As of now, Trick is not confirmed for the Royal Rumble, so I suppose he could be there. But we've heard that Sol Ruka and JC Jane are listed as not available for the NXT tour, so I'm not sure how accurate this list is. And we know NXT champion Obafemi is not going to be there, even though he is on the graphic, because we already know that he is confirmed for the Rumble. However, several names shown in the graphic are currently tied to main roster plans. Williams officially joined SmackDown on January 2nd. What? Oh, Trick, yeah. Second, while Femi was revealed on Raw as an entrant in this year's Men's Royal Rumble. PW Insider has also reported that WWE discussed having Ruka appear in the Women's Royal Rumble. Both Ruka and JC Jane were absent from NXT programming this week. Meanwhile, venue listings for Knoxville and Nashville advertised matches featuring Miles Bourne, Tony D'Angelo, and SmackDown Street Profits. Birmingham's listing still shows Femi as NXT champion, but notes that talent is subject to change. On Wednesday's ESPN Get Up, Levesque promoted the Royal Rumble, saying it will include a lot of surprises and be one of the most star-studded Rumbles he can recall, citing established stars such as Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and Rhea Ripley. With Page committed to NXT's live events, he is advertised to defend the NXT North American Championship, which includes a triple threat match tonight in Knoxville. Hold on. And this article is from today. So, yeah, tonight in Knoxville. Um, against Bourne and AAA Lucha Libre star El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. Hey, real quick before I comment on the rest of this story, listen, I understand tradition and legacy, and your past is part of your gimmick in Lucha Libre, but really, El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., this is the I'm not judging. I just think it's a bit much. Um, yeah. It looks like Ethan Page. I'm glad you liked those, Sean. It looks like Ethan Page is confirmed to not be there, especially because he's in a match tonight, which doesn't mean a whole lot because he could always fly out tomorrow morning to get to Riyadh in time for the Rumble, but I don't think that's going to happen, which is sad because I think All Ego Ethan Page being in that Battle Royal would be, oh my God, so much fun.
Yeah.
Baron?
No, I agree. But I imagine those who are going to be on the show are already out there, right?
Not necessarily.
Where's SmackDown at?
It's in Riyadh. So
okay. Yeah, I mean they almost have to be. It's
here's what I read earlier today. When I actually looked up Atlas, the company I mentioned in the at the very beginning of the show when I did the sponsored by. Just so you guys are clear, we're not actually sponsored by anybody. It would be great, but we're not. I just kind of throw that in as a joke at the beginning of the show if you didn't already know that. Anyway, when I looked them up, they said that most people flew out Monday after Raw on the chartered flight from Atlas, but there were other people that had obligations throughout the week leading up to the Rumble that will be flying out as the week goes on, and it implied that there are people that either left today or are leaving tomorrow. So
yeah, because it has to be Friday there now, right? I mean, obviously it has to be. So, like, I'd imagine most of them are going to be there. Wonder how long of a flight that is. Always like knowing how far away places are.
Yeah, it is Friday morning right now, 8:09 a.m.
Yeah. To Saudi. So I imagine everybody is there that needs to be there. They almost have to be there. I'm looking this up and it's giving me ticket prices. I don't want ticket prices.
All right. Let's call it Orlando, okay?
13 to 17. Okay. We do need some Ramblers merch. I agree, Sean.
According to this, if they flew out of Orlando, it's 16 hours and 5 minutes or more.
Yeah. Hell of a flight. So they have to be there, right? And get some rest Friday. It has to be. So yeah, no, Ethan Page would have been great to see. I love Ethan Page.
I mean, if they're not on SmackDown, they could leave now, and it would put them in. It's 8 o'clock now for midnight. Put them in by midnight Friday night in Riyadh, which is more than enough time to get some rest and be ready for Royal Rumble. Because Rumble, just because it starts at noon for us, in Riyadh, it's much later than that. So
it'd be 8 because we're about 8 hours behind, right?
Well, 9. It's 10 o'clock here and it's 8 a.m. there. So that's 10 hours.
10 hours, yeah.
From me, 9 from you. So that means 10 hours. That's weird. That can't be right. That means the Rumble's starting at 10 p.m. Riyadh time.
Yeah, that would be a weird start time, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That doesn't make too much sense. But I mean, that's something they may have to do in order for us to get it on at a decent time. I don't know. That is really weird start time.
Holy crap. The 2026 WWE Royal Rumble taking place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia starts at 10 p.m. Arabia Standard Time on Saturday, January 31st, 2026. The main card kicks off at this time, which corresponds to 2 p.m. Eastern Time or 11 a.m. Pacific Time. A pre-show is expected to begin earlier around about 8 p.m. at Arabia Standard Time, which would be noon Eastern. So yeah, wow, I wonder if all their shows start that late.
I mean, if they're starting, which they always do when they're over there round one, yeah, they would have to. I wonder if they have like some kind of law on something entertainment wise having to do it late or something, because they have done it. They would have to have done that every single time they've had a show, because it starts at 1 o'clock normally my time.
I mean, some of the shows are actually bought and paid for by the prince in Saudi, so I don't understand why he wouldn't be able to say, I paid for this, it's going to start when I want. Except when Sammy comes out, Sean. Except when Sammy comes out. That whole place jumps up like they were just given a coffee enema.
It's true. They love Sammy.
Yeah, they do. All right. The bad news does not end there. Our next story comes to us from Fightful. Kevin Owens and Meechin hosting Royal Rumble watch party at Orlando Dave & Buster's location. Now, I'm going to be honest. Again, this could be a smokescreen. I really, truly believe that when it comes to Royal Rumble surprises, you have to adopt the Big Brother motto. And the Big Brother motto, for those of you that have never seen the show, is Baron. Oh, I was on the wrong screen. I had no idea. Hurry back. The Big Brother motto is expect the unexpected. So this could be a smokescreen. Usually, though, when a wrestler tweets out where they're going to be there. Kevin Owens was not the one that tweeted it out. Kevin Owens and Meechin will not be in Saudi Arabia. Meechin took to social media Wednesday, January 29th, to announce that she will be hosting a Royal Rumble watch party with Kevin Owens at a Dave & Buster's location in Orlando, Florida. This seemingly kills speculation that either name will be making their return at the WWE Royal Rumble event. For those interested, they give the address of the watch party, but unless you're in Florida, you don't really need it. Owens has been out of action since March 2025 with a neck injury. Meechin is currently out of action after suffering an injury on the recent WWE Holiday Tour. So I would have loved to see a KO return this Saturday at the Rumble. We're on the same page there, Sean. Unfortunately, unless this is a smokescreen, and I'm pretty sure Meechin is really going to be at the Dave & Buster's. KO probably will be, but this could be a smokescreen, and she put his name there so that nobody will know that he's actually going to be in Riyadh. But anybody in Orlando is going to know if he's not actually in Orlando at the Dave & Buster's. So it could get out on social media, hey, Kevin Owens isn't actually at this Dave & Buster's. He's got to be in Saudi Arabia. So I
yeah, but why would he promote it though?
Well, Meechin was the one that promoted it. As far as I've seen, KO hasn't done any promotion for his appearance at Dave & Buster's.
Yeah, but even her, that's like kind of like false advertisement type of deal, right?
Well, I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure she's going to be there, and they could have set it up to be a smokescreen by mentioning his name, even though maybe he's not actually there.
I think his neck injury is pretty serious, right? I mean, like, this is not his first time having a neck injury. If I'm not mistaken.
How serious is Kevin Owens?
I mean, anytime you have a neck injury, it's serious, right? Like, that is nerve-ending pain there.
Kevin Owens' neck injury is very serious, requiring successful single-level neck fusion surgery in July 2025 to address brutal pain and nerve issues following months of competing. While the surgery was successful, his in-ring future is uncertain as he focuses on recovery, with a potential return to WWE not guaranteed until the bones fuse.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't...
That's not good. How old is Kevin Owens? He is 41. So
41, yeah, May 7th, 1984.
Well, I love to see Kevin Owens, right? I feel like anytime something's like, he may not have confirmed that, but her mentioning his name, it kind of will bring people there, and that's like, to me, that wouldn't be smokescreen. But never, as you said, expect the unexpected. You never know.
Yeah. I mean, this is WWE. It wouldn't be the first time that they were like, oh, so-and-so's not going to be here because they're going to be here. And then, like, when they were in Australia, and AJ flew around the world to attack somebody, even though it was announced that he wasn't going to be in Australia.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the first time that they did something like that. I'm not saying that I actually think that's what's happening here. I'm just keeping my options open because, as Sean and I said, we would both love to see KO in the Rumble.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I agree with what Sean just said there, too. Big E, I would love. But I think he is fully announced that he's done, right, with wrestling. Has to be. These neck injuries are very serious.
Oh, there was... Who was in the fight? Wow, we're coming up on 4 years since Big E got injured, and he's still not recovered.
Yeah.
Who was it? This just happened. What were the Raw matches? It may have been Raw.
Yeah, when it comes to neck injuries, though, it's very serious. And that said, it's on the show many fucking times, especially with like Daniel Bryan and everything else. Like one false move could really just end it all.
Yeah. Somebody they had a landing on, it might have been Raw, but the way the landing hit, that the way the head came down, it looked terrible. But I don't remember.
I remember what you're talking about too. And they were out for a very short period of time, so it wasn't a big.
Well, yeah, I mean, it may not have actually done any damage. It might have been Austin Theory in his match with Ray.
I think it could have been.
Yeah, as far as I know, there's been no word that Austin Theory got injured off the landing. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I'm pretty sure it was Austin versus Ray. But yeah, as far as I know, there's no injury to discuss, but it looked bad. And listen, this is what Regal is talking about. He's not trying to single out anybody in particular. The timing just happened to fall the way it did. And I've talked about it here extensively. I did a From the Desk of Max Magus on this very subject not that long ago. You can't take, yes, as a matter of fact, she is. That's her injury. She's been out since August with it. You got to be careful. You cannot take the risk. I know it looks horrific, and you getting up from that it looks like a miracle, but you can't be landing like that. You need to be in better control of your body. And if your opponent is dropping you that way, they need to be better in control of you. You just can't take that risk. It's just a dumb idea. And
yeah,
especially if it was Austin Theory, who just came back from being gone for how long because of an injury. So, all right, guys, up next in copyright news. Yes, you heard me right. We are going to talk about copyright news next. This comes from NoDQ.com. AJ Styles files trademarks ahead of the 2026 Royal Rumble PLE. AJ Styles will be putting his WWE career on the line against Gunther at the 2026 Royal Rumble PLE. On January 28, 2026, Alan Jones, AJ's real name, filed to renew trademarks for the phenomenal AJ Styles and the P1 logo. Here's what is listed under the goods and services category. Providing wrestling news and information via global computer network, entertainment services, namely wrestling exhibits and performances by a professional wrestler and entertainer, entertainment in the nature of wrestling contests, entertainment services, namely televised appearances by a professional wrestler and sports entertainer, entertainment services, namely personal appearances by a professional wrestler and sports entertainer, entertainment services, namely live appearances by a professional wrestler and sports entertainer, providing online interviews featuring professional wrestler and sports entertainer in the field of professional wrestling and sports entertainment for entertainment purposes. While WWE typically holds trademarks for wrestlers in the company, there have been cases in which individuals retain their own rights. And it sounds like in this case, AJ Styles does hold the rights to his information, which completely makes sense. And I never really knew before that article that he owns the rights to not only the phenomenal AJ Styles, but to the P1 logo. And if he's held it all these years, this article really isn't that big of a news story. But the fact that he's renewing it now makes me think there is a chance that he's about to take his show on the road.
That's what I gathered from that as well. I totally agree. But where's he taking the show to the road? You know, where's he going?
That's an excellent question, and I'm gonna try and make this as painless as possible. AJ Styles is probably going to Japan for a few months. And then after that, he's probably going to show up on, say, AMC on maybe Thursday nights. And I think he's going to feud with Frankie Kazarian.
Yep. I mean, that's totally what I see as well. I really hate that these guys are retiring out of the WWE ring.
I mean,
and going somewhere else. Like, you're not getting any higher. You're fulfilling a couple maybe wish list things to do, but like,
I don't think that's why AJ's doing it though. I think AJ feels like he's done everything that he wanted on this roster. And I think that his trip to Japan is a farewell trip to Japan. He's going to work a few months, tell the people there goodbye, thank them for everything that they have done for him, for allowing him to be the Bullet Club and everything else. And I think he's coming back to do some dates with TNA because he wants to retire with TNA. TNA was his first real home. This isn't about doing something bigger and more exciting and better than WWE. I think this is about paying his dues one last time before he rides off into the sunset. I will say this for those of you out there that have been speculating otherwise or that are upset that this isn't happening. AJ Styles I am 99% certain that you will not see AJ Styles be all elite. It's not happening. He has no interest. He has made that clear multiple times. He is doing what he wants, and what he wants is to go out on his terms like Cena did. And you know what? I like that. I never want another Owen Hart ever. I love Owen. He is my all-time favorite wrestler. He is possibly one of the greatest to ever lace up the boots. But I do not want a repeat of that. I do not want to see another wrestler die in the ring. And we've seen too many of those over the years. And what we're seeing right now, people like Big E may not be returning. KO may not be returning. Piper Niven may not be returning. And I don't want that for AJ Styles. I want him to go out on his terms because that's what AJ Styles wants. And I think that's the best way to do it. Go out on your terms, AJ. I'm all for that. And if this is your last match in WWE, thank you for 10 years of memories in the WWE. And all the stuff you did before that just led you to be able to give me 10 years of WWE memories with you, starting with your surprise appearance at the Royal Rumble and possibly your final appearance this week at the Royal Rumble. So thank you. I appreciate everything you've done. And nobody deserves to go out on their terms besides maybe Cena more than you do. I think you have more than earned that.
Yeah, that's perfectly said. I totally agree. It's just one of those. It's all happening fast, right?
Right.
A lot of people are leaving. A lot of people are close to retiring, and a lot of people are retiring. So it's one of those moments. It's like, oh, dude, I don't want to see him elsewhere. I want him to go out, or however he wants personally. As long as he's happy. But it's just those fans, as wrestling fans, it's like, fuck, okay, well, we're losing a lot of top talent.
So here's what I'm hearing. You think the two retirings that are taking place this year, they should be flipped, is what you're saying. AJ should be staying for most of the year, and the guy that's retiring later this year, probably around SummerSlam, he should be the one retiring this weekend. Is that what you're saying?
Who's the guy? Who's that?
Brock Lesnar.
Oh, well, yeah, he should have retired. Fucking, he should just be off TV permanently. I don't care about that one. I'm talking, like the AJs, the Randy Ortons, the Chris Jerichos. I mean,
well, the good news is
names.
The good news is Orton has not discussed retirement.
He hasn't, but it's.
No, he doesn't have a lot longer left.
No.
All right, guys, it's time to go to the Baron's favorite topic. It's time to do some AEW news. This story comes to us from Ringside News, and Tommaso Ciampa is all elite. Tommaso Ciampa explains why he left WWE for AEW. Tommaso Ciampa is officially all elite. Now we know exactly why he walked away from WWE after nearly a decade. Just one day after WWE quietly moved Ciampa to its alumni section on January 27th, the former NXT champion shocked fans by showing up on the January 28th episode of AEW Dynamite. Later that night, AEW President Tony Khan confirmed the move with the signature All Elite graphic, making Ciampa's signing official. But what pushed Ciampa to leave the company he helped build during the black and gold era of NXT? In a new interview with Sports Illustrated's Rick Cucino, the Psycho Killer explained that this wasn't a rash decision. It was something that had been building for a while. It's something I've been leaning towards for quite some time. I don't know that I can say that there's one sole factor that led to it or caused it, Ciampa admitted. I think it's one of those things where your contract is coming to an end and you naturally have discussions. As for where he felt he belonged in this era of wrestling, Ciampa made it clear that AEW was the natural next step in his journey. If I wrestled in the 90s, I'd want to be a part of ECW. Early 2000s, you want to be a part of Ring of Honor. I was lucky I got to do that a little bit. 2010s, I think for me at least, I wanted to be a part of NXT Black and Gold. When I looked at the landscape of professional wrestling in the 2020s, the answer was AEW, man. That's what I want to be a part of. Ciampa also opened up about past creative limitations in WWE and how AEW's collaborative energy gave him the space to bring his long-shelved ideas to life. There were a lot of times I tried, and for one reason or another, over the years in WWE, it just wasn't something that I could do, he said. But for Tony Khan and the whole crew to just collaborate the way they did and have open arms and see the vision and just allow it to breathe and have a chance, I'm already thinking 6 months, 12 months ahead on the evolution of the Psycho Killer. Ciampa made his AEW debut by answering Mark Briscoe's TNT title open challenge, setting the stage for his first match this Saturday on AEW Collision. The debut featured a dramatic lights-out entrance and a new theme song by Shadow Knows, symbolizing the start of a new chapter for a man who once ruled NXT. The move ends month of speculation after Ciampa filed new trademarks for Psycho Killer and Psycho King, dropped fresh merch, and launched a new booking campaign shortly after his WWE deal expired. Now, with a TNT Championship match already lined up, Ciampa is wasting no time planting his flag in AEW. This one's personal, and Ciampa's clearly all in on what comes next. Now, first off, I understand what you're saying about creative. I understand it. I think you had a better thing going in WWE. I really do. That's my opinion. And I know you call it collaborative, but I've seen what Tony Khan's idea of collaborative is, and I don't think you're going to find it as collaborative as you think. Baron?
Yeah, I don't want to say much on the collaborative part, right? Now, I will say of anywhere he could go and where he could really benefit the most from is AEW. I think that was actually a pretty smart move on his part, right? He got a decent little pop on his debut, but he's always been that more like extreme style kind of. That's what we knew. Like his best work for me was NXT, right, in the 2010s with him and drawing a blank here. You know who I'm talking about. Gargano, thank you. So like that's some of the best work they did, and he was a little bit more gritty, right? I feel like a heel Ciampa and more kind of an extreme wrestling match, which AEW is known for, is he fits right in. Like I hope he doesn't get lost in the mix there. Which is a very strong possibility because everybody that goes over there tends to because of bad booking. I think this is his best chance, though. I would have much rather seen him in like a TNA. He could have probably holstered that fucking division up single-handedly because we know how great he is in the ring and he's very good on the mic.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, I think this was a pretty smart move for sure.
Yeah.
He is going to have more freedom over there than he did in WWE. Absolutely.
All right. Our last story is from TNA before we move on to the card for this weekend. And it comes to us from Ringside News. Alicia Edwards walks away from the system during the January 29th TNA Impact segment. The January 29th episode of TNA Impact on AMC kicked off with high tension and a major shift in faction dynamics. The system, now featuring Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, Cedric Alexander, and Bear Bronson, made their presence felt after officially removing Moose from the group and attacking JDC following his retirement match at Genesis. But the drama didn't stop there. Alicia Edwards interrupted the segment, clearly blindsided by the group's recent actions. She confronted her real-life husband, Eddie Edwards, who never informed her about the decision to oust Moose or realign the group. Her frustration boiled over as she questioned her place in the faction. Eddie's response was blunt, making it clear that her exclusion was intentional. That moment escalated into something even bigger as Alicia revealed that her TNA contract is nearing its end. She publicly questioned whether she even wanted to be associated with the system moving forward. After a tense back and forth, the situation reached its boiling point when Alicia made the decision to walk away from the faction altogether, making it clear she no longer wanted to be a part of the new direction Eddie and the others were taking. I think this is interesting. First off, it's her real-life husband, and now she's decided that she didn't like what he's turning into. I've heard this story a million times.
Yeah.
And it never ends well for him. It really doesn't, unless, I mean, even then, I was going to say, it doesn't end well for the husband unless he takes the wife out, if you know what I mean. And even then, it doesn't end well for the husband because, as we've seen over and over and over, they get caught eventually. So I just don't see this ending well for Eddie Edwards in any way, shape, or form.
No, definitely not.
Never piss the wife off.
Nope. That's rule number one.
Yeah.
You're not going to win.
Yeah. You done messed up, Eddie, and I can't help you at this point because Now you stepped in it, and now you got to live with it, and you got to deal with the consequences. I'm sorry. All right, let's look at the card. That card is on this tab. So as of right now, guys, we have 4 matches announced for this Saturday's Royal Rumble in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Start time, ungodly different time than normal, but we'll get over it. We have 4 matches: the men's Royal Rumble match, the women's Royal Rumble match, Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn for the undisputed WWE Championship, or as I like to call it, the Uwu Championship, because at one time it was the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, or Uwu. And then AJ Styles versus Gunther in a career-threatening match, and if Styles loses, he will be forced to retire from in-ring competition. Now, before we get into the picks, we need to talk about who is confirmed to be in the Royal Rumble matches. So let's start with the men. Right now, we know Cody Rhodes. He was announced on SmackDown January 16th. The following Monday on Raw, we got Gunther, Jey Uso, Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, and Penta. And then on that week's SmackDown, we were informed that Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa would be in the match. The following night at Saturday night's main event, we found out that Jacob Fatu would be in the match. And throughout the course of this week, we've had a few more announcements on Raw. We were informed that the entirety of the Vision is in the Royal Rumble match. Braun Breaker, Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, Austin Theory, but not just the 4 of them. Javon Evans, your boy Bouncy, is going to be in this as well. Obafemi was also announced on Raw. Randy Orton was announced Wednesday on Get Up on ESPN. And on the same day, on Wednesday, Brock Lesnar was announced on the Pat McAfee show. Now, right, I'm on board with you, don't you worry. Now, notably, if you were watching Raw Monday night, you know that Finn Balor went to Pierce and asked for his spot in the Royal Rumble, and Pierce said, I don't have a spot for you. I already gave that spot away. I don't have an opening in the Royal Rumble to fit you in. And Finn says he has a plan, and he went out and he attacked CM Punk and also AJ Styles because it was during their main event match. And then here's the situation. In talks today, there is speculation that they may be making that a match at Rumble. They have not made it official yet. It is not on the official list. We are not including that in the picks just in case it doesn't happen. I'm only mentioning it because we think it's possible. We think Finn Balor versus CM Punk will take place this Saturday in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. No pick there. But let's talk about the women's Royal Rumble match. On Monday, January 19th, on Raw, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Baron,
Liv
Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Bayley, Lyra Valkyria, Asuka. That Friday on SmackDown, we got Chelsea Green, Jordan Grace, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, Lash Legend, Julia. And then on Monday, on a shot of Brandy, we got the announcement that Maxine Dupree would be in the Royal Rumble. And then on Raw, Becky Lynch announced her place in the Royal Rumble. Now, there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of talk going on. We've been talking about it. Styles sent us his picks. We have that, but it seems to me that what I'm hearing a lot of is Charlotte Flair is who people think might win the women's match. I think we're overlooking people like Becky Lynch, the possible return of Bianca Belair. You even have some other great names in there: Alexa Bliss, Julia, who is proving herself to be a very strong performer. Bailey's in there. You have some options for a woman to win this match.
And Liv.
Oh yes, I was waiting for you to point Liv out.
Okay, didn't Flair Charlotte? Didn't she win last year?
2025, number 27 entrant in the Royal Rumble, Charlotte Flair.
What
won
is
the
up
Rumble.
with number 27? Why is that the number?
I'm not sure. Let me look this over. Real
You would
quick.
always think 31 would have the best odds and should be winning them all, right?
31.
30, sorry. 27 just seems a very weird number.
And she's actually included in the 5 that have won from 27. So
yeah, she's won multiple. I don't see her being that, but once we get into our picks, I'll tell you what I have panned out here. Yeah. I got something cooking.
Yeah, and over on the men's side, I listen. All of you out there in Rambler Land that are listening to this, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not really hearing a lot of anything except for maybe Roman Reigns. Nobody else is. I've not really seen a lot of speculation on the men's match. And maybe that's because we've only had 17 of 30 entrants announced for the men's match. But normally by now, there is somebody that is clearly everyone's favorite to win the match. Last year, everybody thought Cena was going to win. Every year you have this one front runner that seems to stand out above everybody else. And this year, outside of a couple of people saying they think Roman might win it, I'm not hearing a whole lot of speculation for who's going to win the men's Royal Rumble.
I have the pick, and I know who it's going to be.
Listen, I would love for it to be me, but I just don't see that happening. I don't think they're going to let me go in at number 27, which produced the most winners.
No, I was not picking you this go round. It was Sean, but
yeah. Oh, you're picking Sean?
Yeah, picking Sean, the real goat, the true goat, the goat.
Well, let's talk about Styles' picks before we get into ours. I also told the boys that I wanted a surprise entrant for the Royal Rumble, and Styles did not disappoint. So let's start with Drew versus Sammy off of Styles' picks because I want to get to his surprise entrance last. Drew versus Sammy for the Uwu Championship. CM Styles decided that he believes Drew McIntyre will win that. For AJ Styles versus Gunther in the career-threatening match, he has Gunther for that win. His pick for the Women's Royal Rumble match, he has chosen Charlotte to win. And his surprise entrant for the women's match, he has chosen Trish Stratus. For the men's Royal Rumble match, he has picked Cody as his men's. And he has picked, for his surprise entrant, he has picked the GOAT, Max Magus.
-1.
No, -1 is actually, as far as I know, still under contract with AEW.
Oh, is he? Okay. Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong.
Good picks there, Styles. Now, are we getting points, just extra points? We're not losing points if we, on our surprise picks, right?
No.
Okay.
I mean, look, it's a bonus point. That's all it is. Yeah. So here's what happens. If you pick the right winner for the Rumble, for each Rumble, and you pick the right winner in the other matches, you're talking 4 points.
Yep.
The bonus point is just 1. It's you get a point for everything you get right. It's not like you lose something if you get the surprise entrant wrong. That's basically for funsies. It just gives you a bonus point if you're right.
Yeah. Okay.
Did I just say funsies?
Wow. Funsies. It's funsies.
All right. Baron, we are going to start you out with AJ versus Gunther in a career-threatening match.
I feel like this one is just written exactly how it should be, right? Especially if we know this is for real AJ Styles' last match. I really think it is in WWE. And I think Gunther's just going to be that guy to retire those people, right? He's great. I have nothing bad to say about Gunther ever. I would love for AJ Styles to go out like that, but they're just building Gunther up to be that monster in the company, and there's no better way than to piss off fans again, to be the monster heel, super heel, and beat AJ Styles. So I'm gonna go with Gunther, sadly.
And speculation right now is that he's also probably going to be the guy to retire Brock. Just throwing that out there.
Cool, good. Chuck the fuck out of him.
Yep. All right, up next, Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn for the Uwu Championship. Who you got, Baron?
I don't know. I feel like this is going to be ultimate selling from Sami Zayn. He's got the crowd behind him. It's going to be so many false counts in this match. He's going to play the underdog. I think Drew comes out on top, but a part of me really wants to say Sami because he's in Saudi Arabia, and this could be huge. I just don't think WWE views him as a champion, and yeah, I got to go with Drew.
I'll say this. I'm not going to tell you yet who I'm picking on this, but I will make this point real quick. I think the one thing Sami has going for him is that they are in Saudi Arabia. I don't think it matters whether the WWE believes in him. I don't think it matters whether we believe in him. I think what matters is, did Saudi pay for this show? Because if so, this could really raise the WWE stock if Sami wins.
I agree. It's something I thought about, right? And it could happen. I think it's got a very good chance. It's a 50-50 for me. I really don't know. I'm going Drew just because I feel like he just won that title from the biggest face in the entire company. Why would you strip that bitch off of him? Unless it was to drop to Sami, right? But I don't know. This is actually a match I really don't know because Drew has always played the part of being fucked over and the crybaby. So this could be another opportunity to play that card again and screw him over. I just don't think it's going to happen that way. Yeah, this is definitely one I think I'll get wrong, but I'll go with Drew just as a little bit safer bet.
Gotcha. All right, up next we got the women's Rumble match. Now I know we only have 15 women announced.
You don't need. There's only one that's announced that matters. So the winner of this match is Liv Morgan.
All right, who do you have for your surprise entrant in this match?
I'm gonna go with Bianca. I think Bianca's gonna be a surprise entry into this. She's also, if she does, she's got a good chance of winning. I think that's going to be my pick, but I think for funsies, I'm also, just because we're saying funsies tonight, I'm going to say Paige returns to WWE. I've seen a lot of speculation that this could happen, and I've seen some interviews with her. So there's always a good chance, and I'm just going to say her too. But Bianca's going to be my easy number one pick here.
All right. Well, that will bring us to the men's Rumble match. Who do you have winning the men's Rumble match?
Well, I was going this way before we started the call, but I think we're starting to forget Dirty Dom. I'm picking as a surprise entrance. I know he's out with a shoulder injury, but if I'm not mistaken, reading just the other day, he coming back very soon. So I'm gonna go with Dirty Dom, as a surprise entrance into this, and the winner, I'm going with Dirty Dom.
All right. And I will tell you right now, I just looked it up, and January 3rd, it was announced that his shoulder injury was not as significant as they initially thought. So that is a interesting and good call.
Yeah, I think, and I Liv winning the women's because I think that's the right thing to do, and Dirty Dom winning the men's. And Finn Balor possibly having a match with CM Punk. Are we finally doing something here with the Judgment Day? Are we disbanding? You know, like this is some storytelling shit that could really pan out if we're smart about it. And I mean, they're undoubtedly Dirty Dom has every single right to win that Royal Rumble. I think he's one of the faces of the company. I think it's almost a lock at this point.
And I think beating John Cena to get his belt back was great momentum for him.
Yeah, absolutely. What he's doing in AAA, in ring. I mean, like, dude, he's really good. And yeah, I think this is definitely his opportunity. And it really makes it interesting with that Finn Balor and CM Punk thing going on. So never say never.
All right, so let's start at the bottom again. AJ Styles versus Gunther. As sad as it makes me to say this, I have Gunther. I believe that he is going to be ending AJ's career this weekend. I was not expecting it less than a month into the year. It is what it is. I think this is bon voyage, AJ, and thank you. Up next, we have Drew versus Sammy for the Uwu Championship. I think the only reason WWE would consider putting it on Sammy is because of how much the Saudis would love if Sammy won that match. Besides that, I don't think they plan to move it to Sammy. I picked him to win the Fatal 4-Way last week. But in the end, I was surprised that it actually happened. I'm not going to lie. I really thought he deserved the win. And even if they didn't put the belt on him, I thought he deserved the title match. And you know what? I'm thinking about this. And you know what? I'm going to go with Sammy on this because, damn it, why would you put him over in that Fatal 4-Way with the options you had, knowing that he was going to be facing Drew in Riyadh, where they absolutely love him and they go ape shit every time he comes out? I am picking Sammy for this match.
It's a safe pick. I think you're probably going to be right, honestly. And I would love to see it. I really do. But it's just, it depends. I wish that we know the order of these matches, right?
Yeah, me too.
I think it depends. Like if this was right before the men's Royal Rumble, it could be a different story. If this is an opening match, I think if this is an opening match, I think it's a Sami Zayn win,
right?
For sure. Blow the roof off, let it happen, get the crowd hot. I think that is, yeah. I think you're probably right.
If I had to guess, I'd say one of the Rumbles will open.
Yeah,
then you'll have your two singles matches, and then the other Rumble will close.
Yeah.
You almost had me convinced. It was this close. And then I got to thinking. And again, I'm thinking, damn it.
On what? What are we thinking here? Are we at the women's?
On the men's and women's.
Okay.
You put out a damn good idea that I just don't think WWE is going to do. And
too smart.
It sucks. I like the idea. I think it would be great. In fact, I would go as far to say it's what's best for business, but I don't think WWE's doing that. I really don't. But I'm rethinking the pick that I did type up already. For my women's, I had put down Bianca as the winner because there's a really good chance she makes her return and she wins, but I don't think I'm going to go with that. I think I'm going to go with the unexpected on this one. And I'm going to go a completely different route. I'm going to go somebody who's fairly new that has been one hell of a talent since she's been there. One of the fastest people going from NXT to the main roster. She's already held a title on the main roster. I'm going with Julia for the winner of the Women's Rumble.
Okay. Okay.
This is one of those surprises that I could see WWE doing, actually putting her over in this Rumble. And for my surprise entrant, I'm going with AJ Lee. She's not been around much, and I think now is the time to have her come back and do something. I think this is where she makes her return. And for the men, especially after after he defeated John Cena, you almost had me convinced that I don't think that they're ready to pull that trigger on Dom just yet. I think it's coming. I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. But on this one, I went with somebody who will be returning, and I believe he's returning at the Rumble. The speculation has been the last 2 weeks they've talked about him being back. And this man, if you have not seen the pictures, has gotten ripped since he went out a few months ago. And that man is Chad Gable. I've got him down. I think he's going to win the Rumble. They have been so high on his work lately. I think the only reason we didn't see him in this position months ago is because he got injured. I think he was on the road to this with the story he was involved in. And then the injury happened, and so things changed. So I think
Which
Chad
story?
Gable, well,
Which story? That would change my mind. If you know what I'm saying here.
I have been denying, in true storytelling fashion, I have denied that Chad Gable is El Grande Americano. I think that the story with him becoming El Grande Americano was because they sent him off, and he went to the thing to find out how to deal with luchas, and they gave him a box, and in that box was the mask for Grande Americano. And I think that what it was the only way to beat them was to join them, and I think that it was going to build to Chad Gable becoming champion. I think he would have been in that championship area as part of this story. Maybe there was an unmasking before he got to the title. Maybe it was after. But either way, I'm almost 100% certain that this is what they were building to with the Overcome the Lucha storyline that he was involved in. Because, I mean, the man is phenomenally talented. Sure, he's small, he's jacked now. But I honestly think that the way the story was progressing was going to lead to this point anyway. And if he is back in time to win the Royal Rumble, I think that they're going to go ahead and continue the story where they left off. I think Chad Gable wins the Royal Rumble Saturday.
Okay.
And that brings me to my surprise entrant, because it's not Chad Gable. And while Chad would kind of be a surprise since he hasn't been around, he's a return, and his first appearance back would probably be Saturday. I have not chosen him for my surprise entrant. Why, you might ask? Well, there is another person on the roster who already made a surprise appearance at WrestleMania last year, who feasibly could make his Royal Rumble. He's been in the Rumble before, maybe. Was that last year?
I'm pretty sure he was in last year's.
Yeah, he may have been in last year, but that's beside the point. The WWE loves this guy. The WWE Universe loves him. Not everybody around here is so big on him, but some of us are. I think Joe Hendry is a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble. I'm not saying he's going to win or even do what I want to see him do in the Rumble, but I think he's going to be there. I think that they realize the entertainment value they have by putting Hendry out there.
I think that's a safe bet. I think absolutely he'll be in that, without a doubt, for sure. Solid picks. I really hate that it's only 4 matches. I just feel like, I don't know. I felt like PLEs had more matches back in the day. I could be totally wrong, but nonetheless, you got like 40 minutes in total of ad revenue and fucking commercials you got to run, right? So,
and the thing is, PLEs did have more matches, but the problem was WWE realized, and I wish AEW would realize, that fans didn't want to sit there for 7 hours for a PLE. That's why
they're going to sit there for 7 hours anyways.
Are you?
Yeah, those PLEs are fucking long, man. A lot longer than what they show on TV. Yeah, I guarantee you Royal Rumble will be at least 6 hours.
I mean, yeah, you've got to show up.
Maybe not 6 hours. Maybe that's too long.
Well, I mean, you got to show up early. You got to be there like an hour before the doors open. Then the doors open. They got like an hour to get everybody to their seats. And then you've got, if it's a PLE, you're talking 3-4 hour for a show. And if they're doing anything after, like sometimes they film NXT or SmackDown after. Well, if NXT is on the road with them.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes they film stuff after that they want you to stick around for. You could be looking at 6 hours.
Yeah, and I'm taking into consideration the pre-show, the after-show, and things along those lines too, right? So,
right. We don't watch a lot of the pre-show in this house.
What's that?
We don't watch a lot of the pre-show.
I don't either. I'm going to be honest with you, actually at all. But
it's too much conversation, not enough action.
Yeah, I agree.
So
those are solid picks. I think we're both, got some interesting picks. I think our surprise entry is going to be a lock, pretty much. Both. I really wish you would have reconsidered that Dom pick. I think you could have got an extra point out of that, Max. I think you could have. I think that's going to happen.
And you may be right. I'm just thinking that I think they're going to pull the trigger on Chad Gable before they pull the trigger on Dom. That's
a huge switch. Dom to Chad Gable, right? Like that's massive.
Yeah, and I think Dom's time is coming. In fact, because Dom was part of the Lucha problem that Gable had. Chad wins this, goes on to win the title. Dom comes out and says, "I beat you already. That's my title." There's a million ways you can go with this that end up with Dom still getting that belt down the road as part of this story the way it is.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, I think that's going to do it for the Ramblers Unleashed tonight. So until next time, Baron, how can they find you?
You can find me on the Twitter at Scumbag Jordan with 3 N's.
And you can find the podcast at the Ramblers Pod or search us on Facebook. You can find me at Max Mage. You can find my other show at Our Shots Podcast. You can listen to that podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts or go to random-shots.net. If you enjoyed tonight's show, hit the like button. If you aren't already subscribed, consider subscribing and maybe even hitting that bell icon to be notified when we go live. Now, get out there and watch some wrestling.
Yes. Enjoy this weekend. This weekend's going to be fantastic. It's the best wrestling you can watch. So enjoy. Peace and love.
Thanks for tuning in to Ramblers Unleashed. Follow the show on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and click the bell icon for notifications.